Hey there, my name is Kelly Dale with Off the Beaded Path. Today I want to show you how to make the Grecian goddess pendant. This will grow in with our set, the Grecian goddess set. I first showed you a few weeks ago the Grecian goddess ring. Last week was the Grecian goddess bracelet. So today it's the pendant. So what you're going to need for today's project is you are going to need 2 yards of a 6-pound fire line, 2 size 12 beading needles, 37 Color A Bicones. I'm going to be using jet today. To be honest with you, I've done so much blue and pink the couple of weeks for these sets, I'm just ready for a new color. We're still going to have the pink and blue, and I'll show those to you. I'm just going to do a different color today in the video. You're going to need 4 4mm Color B Bicones. Now, just like with the ring, if you don't want to use a color C, you'll need 8 of those bicones for the color B. You have and I'm going to be using silver today. Optional is 4 4mm Color C Bicones. This is the very center of the piece. I'm going to be using that option today, and I'm going to be using Crystal AB. You're going to need 12 4mm fire polish rounds. This is the base. 2 6mm Color B Bicones. So you want bicones that are the same color as your B. Now, since I'm using the optional C, I'm going to be using mine that match the C. You also need 2 grams of a size 11 seed bead. Now, just like last week where I showed you the little trick to getting the base done a little quicker, I'm going to show that to you again today, and we're going to do the whole pendant in completion. Now, next week I'm going to show you some earrings, and I'm not going to do those in completion, just so you'll kind of know and be able to refer back to this video for the completion part. So I'm going to get my mat set up and we'll get started. So to start out with, I have a needle threaded onto each end of 2 yards of my fire line. I'm going to start out by threading on 1 4, 1 Color A, and 1 4mm round. Then with 1 needle, I'm going to pick up 1 4mm round, and I'm going to cross the needles opposite ways through that 1 bead. And I'm going to pull that bead so that it goes down to the center of the thread and makes my first little box. And I do realize that I'm using crystal beads with a smoke fire line, but this is the base. My darker beads are going to cover up, so I don't really, I could have used crystal, but then you would see it on the top. Now, each needle picks up 1 4mm round. And then with 1 needle, you're going to pick up 1 more round, and you're going to cross your needles opposite ways through that 1 bead. And this will make the little middle box of our piece. On the right hand needle, I'm going to pick up 1 round, 1 A, and 1 round. I'm going to come back through the same bead that I'm exiting to make a circle. So I'm going to come back through this bead going from left to right, so that when I pull the thread, I now have my column of beads. With this same right hand needle, I'm going to go down through the bead right below where my thread is exiting. I'm going to thread on 1 round, 1 A, and 1 round. And I'm going to go back through the same bead that I'm coming out of so that it makes a circle. Now with this same needle, I'm going to go ahead and go through the round that's to my right, and then, excuse me, through the A that I just added. And I'm going to set that needle down. Now with the left hand needle, I'm going to go down through the bead right where my thread is coming out. And I'm going to hold that into place. And I'm going to thread on a round, an A, and a round. And I'm going to go back down through the same bead that I'm coming out of so that it makes a circle. Now I'm going to stitch this thread to where it exits out over here. So to do that, I'm going to flip it this way. I'm going to take the thread and go right up through the bead, right next to where my thread is coming out of. I'm going to go through the round that's to the right or to the left, up through the bead, right where my thread's exiting, and then through the A, so that now I have a thread exiting opposite sides of that one bead. Now, you are ready for the embellishment around the outer edge. So with the right hand needle, well, it helps if I have my seed beads out here. Let me pour these out. With the right hand needle, I'm going to thread on 111, 1A, 111, 1A, and 111. So an 11, an A, an 11, an A, and an 11. And I'm going to go through the next A that's to the right. You want to do that 3 more times. So 1, 2, 3, so that you're coming out of this bead here at the top again. Once you get back to the top bead, this is what your piece will look like. You're now ready to start the embellishments along the top. I'm going to be starting here and working down just in the center row. So I'm going to lay it down on the mat, and with each needle, I'm going to pick up an A. I'm going to pick up one size 11 seed bead and cross my needles opposite ways through that one bead and pull that all the way down. Now you want 1A onto each needle, and this time we're going to cross our needles opposite ways through the next round on the base, which is going to be this one right here. So I'm going to take this needle and go this direction, and then I'm going to take the other needle and go in the other direction, so that when you pull, it makes your first little embellishment along the top. Now, with each needle, I'm going to pick up a C. On one needle, I'm going to pick up one size 11 seed bead, and I'm going to cross the needles opposite ways through that one bead. And now with each needle, pick up one C, and you'll cross your needles opposite ways through the next round on the base, which is going to be this bead right here. There we go. Alright, so now I have A's, I have C's, and now I'm going to do another box of A's. So I'm going to pick up an A on each needle, pick up one size 11 seed bead, and cross your needles opposite ways through that one bead. Then we want 1A onto each needle. We're going to cross opposite ways through the next A on the base, which is going to be this one right here. So one needle goes in one direction, and one needle is going to go in the other direction, so that now we have our center column full of beads. With this left hand needle, I'm going to continue through an 11, an A, an 11, an A, an 11, and an A. So I'm going to be coming out of this A right here on the side. With the right hand needle, I'm going to stitch all the way around the outer edge so that I'm coming out of that same bead. So I want both threads to be coming out of this side A here on the left. I now have both threads coming out of the A here along the side. So I'm going to turn the piece so that I'm going to be working up in this direction. So the first thing I'll start off with is I'm going to pick up the A onto each needle. And then pick up 111, and I'm going to cross opposite ways through that bead. Then you want 1A onto each needle. And just like we've been doing, we're going to cross through the next round on the base, which is going to be this bead right here. So one needle will go in this direction, and the other needle in this one. The needle on the right is going to go up through the round right above where the thread is exiting, and then through the round to the left of where the thread is exiting. And we'll set that needle to the side. The needle that was on the left is going to go up through the round right above where the thread's at, and then through the round to the right, so that again both threads are coming out of the same bead. We'll start out again with 1A onto each needle, and then you pick up 111, and you're going to cross opposite ways through that one bead, and then 1A onto each needle, and cross opposite ways through the next A on the base, which is going to be this one right here. Okay, the right hand needle is going to go through the 11, the A, and the 11. So continuing to the right, we're going through the 11, the A, and the 11. I'm going to pick up 1 B and 1 11. I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to go through the C that is directly across from where the 11 is at that I'm exiting. So I'm going to come through this one right here and pull that through. I'm going to go through the 11 that's in the very center here of the pendant, and then through the C, sorry guys, to the right. And you'll want to pull it because you want this to pull up just like that right there. I'm going to pick up with the same needle 111 and 1 B, and I'm coming out of this C right here in the center. So I'm going to come to the little size 11 seed bead right here, and I'm going to go through this bead going from right to left. I'm going to go through the 11 and then the A right after it, and pull. And remember, you want to pull it tight because you don't want any space there. Now I'm going to set this needle down, and I'm going to use the left hand needle, the one here at the top. Now I'm going to go through the 11, the A, and the 11. I'm going to thread on a B and an 11. I'm going to come to the C here in the center, and I'm going to go right up through the C here that's to my left, or that's on this left side, I guess I should say. Then I'm going to go down through the 11. And then through the C that's here to the left. And I'm going to pick up an 11 and a B. And I'm going to turn it just a little bit here so I can get a better look. I'm coming out of this bead, so I'm going to come to the 11 directly adjacent to it, and I'm going to go through that 11 going from left to right. And then I'm just going to continue going through my beads so that when I pull it, sorry, that was my husband's cell phone ringing. But I'm going to continue until I get all the way to this A right up here. So it's going to be the diagonal A that's on this left hand or right hand side. So basically I will be going through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm going through 14 beads with this left hand needle. Okay, so just to make myself clear, the thread that was my right hand thread should be coming out of the A to the right of the center bottom. The left hand thread should be coming out of the A to the right on the top. Okay, so they're coming out of opposite beads here on the same side. So I'm going to use just this top thread for now. And I'm going to pick up an A and an 11, an A and an 11, an A and an 11, and an A. So you've got 4 A's and then an 11 between each one. I'm going to skip 3 beads. So I'm coming out right here. I'm going to skip the 11, the A, and the 11, and then I'm going to go through the next A. So I'm skipping 3 beads and then going through 1 so that it gives me this little funky loop. Now I'm going to kind of turn it here so I can get through my beads. I'm going to go through the next 11 A, 11 A, 11 A, 11, and A. So if I turn it back the right way, this is my left hand thread and it's coming out. There's 3 beads between the left hand thread and the right hand thread that I've done nothing with yet. Using the same left hand thread, I'm going to pick up these same beads here. So I'm going to pick up an A, an 11, an A, an 11, an A, an 11, and an A. So again, 4 A's with an 11 in between each. I'm going to skip the 3 beads. I'm going to skip the 11, the A, and the 11. And I'm going to go through all the beads here around the outer edge until I'm coming out of this middle 11 here on the top of my pendant. And again, I've still not done anything with that right hand thread yet. It's just kind of hanging out down here at the bottom. So I'm coming out of the 11 here at the top, and I'm going to pick up an 11, a 6mm, and an 11. You want to find the 4mm A, which is adjacent to where you're coming out. So here's my 11. I'm going to come right down to the bottom here at this A, and I'm going to go through this A going from left to right. So I'm going to go through just the A, okay? It'll take me a second to wiggle it in, and I promise I'll turn it back so you can see it. There we go. So here's where I'm coming out. I'm going through just the A there on the base, going from left to right. Now you pick up an 11 and go up through the 6mm and the 11 that you just added. Then you're going to go through the 11 here at the top, the one you were originally exiting, and I'm going to go from right to left so that way when I pull it, now you see there's a string on each side, and then I'm going to straighten up this bead if it needs straightening up whatsoever, so that now I have that top little point of my pendant added. I'm going to pick up 6 11s, 1 A, and 6 11s. I'm going to come back through this same bead that I'm coming out of so that it makes a circle. I'm going to go through these beads again to reinforce. And then through the same 11 there on the base. Now I'm going to pick up 6 11s. And I'm going to go through the A, going from left to right. So that when you pull, it looks just like this. Pick up 6 11s. I got to pour me out some more beads here. And once you have those 6, you're going to go through the 11 on the base again. And then reinforce the 6 11s, the A, and the 6 11s again, and tie this thread off with a couple of half-hitch knots. Don't do anything with this bottom thread yet. You're just reinforcing and then tying off with the top thread. So I've got this tied off except for this bottom thread here, and I wanted to show you real quick how this bail is going to work because I know some of you were probably wondering. If you look, there's a loop here between the 2 loops that we actually made. So if your beading thread or whatever, your chain, whatever, is going to go right through those loops so that it'll be just like this, and that's how it's going to hang. So I'll take the right hand thread, which is at the bottom, and I'm going to go through the next A, 11, A, and 11 so that I'm coming out at the bottom point. Now I'm going to flip this around just because it's easier for me to work on here with the camera. And I'm going to pick up an 11, my 6mm, and an 11. I'm going to go to the adjacent A here on the base, and I'm going to go through that bead going from left to right. And pull. Then you want to pick up an 11, and you're going to go up through the 6 and then the 11 right above it. And then go through the 11 here on the base. If you'll look, my thread was coming out here. This time it's coming out on this right hand side. So I'm going to go through that 11 going from right or left to right so that now I have a thread on the left and right side. And then this is complete. So now I'm ready to tie this thread off and then put it on my stringing material. No, I'm not. Forget what I just said. You're not ready to tie this off. You're coming out of the 11 here at the bottom. Pick up 3 more 11s, and you're going to go back through the same bead that you're coming out of so that it makes a circle. Just like this. It's going to make a little peacoat type thing. Go through those beads again to reinforce, and I do these one at a time. And then back through the one on the base, And now you're ready to tie this thread off and put it onto your string of material. So I wanted to show you the other two samples of the pendants that I made. As you know, this is the black and crystal one that I made in the video today. This is the blue one, which I think turned out really, really pretty in the blue. And then, get it off the little display here. This one is the pink. And so the blue and the pink are just like the kits that we've had from the previous weeks. And then we will have a kit for the black and crystal one also. The kits for these can be found on our website, offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. So I hope you guys enjoyed learning how to make the Grecian goddess pendant. As I said, all the kits are available on our website, which is offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. And we also have the revised pattern that shows you the new way for the backing for this pendant. Again, on our website, offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. So come back next week for the last piece in this set. And I hope you guys have a great week. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.